Sonic's Green Hills Adventure Season 6 Chapter 10 Mr. Gold. The sun climbed higher over Storybrooke, and the lively energy of the backyard began to spill out toward the town. With the group gathered and introductions made, a plan was quickly hatched to take the celebration to the docks for a massive Green Hills x Storybrooke picnic. No one felt the need to hold back or hide. In this town, magic and extraordinary origins were simply part of the scenery. The procession was a sight to behold as it moved through the streets. Tom and Maddie led the way, carrying coolers packed with Green Hills favorites, while Rachel followed closely, keeping a sharp eye on JoJo, who was still showing jar games on her phone. Jessica, Crystal, Joey, and Veronica walked together, laughing and discussing which songs would be best for their next practice. Longclaw glided silently above the group, her shadow sweeping over the wooden planks of the pier as they arrived. Sonic grinned as he looked at the sparkling harbor.
Now this is what I'm talking about. Fresh air, good food, and absolutely no cells in sight.
Marina was standing tall in her reddish-pink furred hedgehog form, her matching quills catching the light.
It's beautiful, Sonic. And look, we aren't the only ones who had the idea to enjoy the water today.
As the group began to spread out blankets and set up the picnic, three figures approached from the far end of the pier. Belle walked with a gentle smile, carrying baby Gideon in her arms while Mr. Gold Rumpelstiltskin walked beside her, his cane clicking rhythmically against the wood. They stopped, frozen for a moment by the sheer variety of newcomers. Belle's eyes were wide with wonder.
Oh, my goodness. Emma, we heard rumors of new arrivals, but I don't think I've ever seen such a vibrant family.
Gold's eyes were flickering with a mixture of calculation and genuine curiosity.
Vibrant is one word for it, dearie. I can feel the power rolling off this group from the other side of town. It's ancient and quite diverse.
Sonic stepped forward with a friendly wave.
Hey, I'm Sonic. These are my brothers Shadow and Silver, my sister Onika, and our whole extended crew. We're new in town, well, dropped in is probably more accurate.
Rumpelstiltskin looked at Annika, who was currently in her casual denim vest and hoodie, her long dark hair blowing in the sea breeze.
And this one, her resonance is peculiar. It feels less like a story and more like a star.
Annika beamed at baby Gideon.
Hi, I'm Annika. Is that your baby? He's so cute. Can I show him a star sparkle?
Belle gently laughed.
I think he would love that, Annika. I'm Belle, and this is Gideon. It's wonderful to meet you all.
Jack Skellington swooped in to bow toward Gold.
A man of magic. I can smell the enchantments on you, sir. I am Jack Skellington. Would you like a sandwich? They are mostly ham, but I'm told they are quite legendary.
Zim marched up to Gold, squinting suspiciously.
What is this gold person? Does he own the gold? If so, Zim demands a tribute for his magnificent wedding to Sapphire.
Sapphire placed a hand on Zim's shoulder, her lavender eyes apologetic.
Zim, please. Mr. Gold, I am Sapphire. We are very pleased to meet you. Please, join us. We have more than enough for everyone.
Shadow was sitting on a crate nearby.
Might as well sit down, Gold. From what I've heard, you're the one with the answers in this town. We've got plenty of questions, but for now, we're just eating.
The docks were soon filled with the sound of laughter and clinking plates. Crystal and Joey put on some music on Spotify in the background, while Maria and Sally chatted with Maddie about life in Green Hills. Silver sat with Gideon and Annika, using his psychokinesis to lift tiny pieces of popcorn into the air for the baby's amusement. It was a perfect upbeat moment of connection, where two worlds of magic finally sat down at the same table. The picnic continued under the bright Maine sun, but a distinct pocket of intensity formed near the edge of the pier. Rumpelstiltskin leaned on his cane, his eyes gleaming with a curiosity he usually reserved for high-stakes bargains, while Shadow stood beside him, looking lively and unyielding, his arms crossed over his chest.
You have a fascinating aura, dearie. It's not fueled by spells or potions. It's biological. A physical manifestation of power. But tell me, in your world, does magic still follow the fundamental law? Does it always come with a price?
Shadow was looking out over the water, his voice calm but firm.
If you're asking if I had to pay for my existence, the answer is yes. But the price wasn't mine to pay. It was paid by a girl who gave her life so I could have mine, and by a grandfather who lost his mind trying to cheat death. In my world, we don't call it a price. We call it a consequence.
A rose by any other name. Whether you call it a price or a consequence, the debt always finds a way to be collected. You were created to be ultimate, yet here you are, trapped in a town of stories. One might wonder if the universe is finally demanding its due.
Shadow turned to look Gold directly in the eyes, a confident smirk on his face.
The difference between us, Gold, is that I stopped letting the past hold the bill. My power isn't a curse I'm trying to outrun. It's a tool I use to protect the family I chose. If there's a price for the magic that brought us together, we'll pay it as a unit. You deal in contracts, I deal in loyalty. My price was paid 7 years ago in blood and starlight now. I'm just living on the interest.
Gold chuckled softly, tapping his cane.
Loyalty. A charming sentiment. Often far more expensive than gold, but I suppose for someone like you, it's the only currency that matters.
Belle walked over with baby Gideon, smiling at the two of them.
I see you two are already discussing the deep things. Gideon has been mesmerized by Anika and her star sparkles. It's lovely to see such powerful people using their gifts just to make a baby laugh.
Shadow's expression softened instantly as he looked at the baby.
Power is wasted if it's only used for war, Belle. My sister has the right idea. A little light goes a long way in a place like this.
As the two men, one a weaver of dark deals, the other a survivor of cosmic tragedy, shared a rare moment of mutual respect, the rest of the group thrived. Tom, Maddie, and Rachel laughed with Emma and Snow, while Zim and Jack continued to debate whose realm was more impressive. The price of magic felt small compared to the warmth of the family gathered on the docks. The smell of salt water and Aunt Rachel's spicy chicken wings mingled in the air, creating a scent that felt surprisingly like home. Tom sat on the edge of the pier, his legs dangling over the water as he watched Silver and Gideon.
I've got to say, Maddie, I didn't have Picnic with the Dark One on my bingo card for this year.
Maddie laughed as she leaned against his shoulder.
After the year we've had, I'm just glad he brought his own napkins. But look at them, Tom. They aren't just surviving this. They're actually enjoying it.
Silver was using his psychokinesis to make a trio of blueberries dance in a circle around Gideon's head.
See that little guy? Gravity is more of a suggestion than a rule once you get the hang of it.
Belle smiled at Maddie.
Your boys have such gentle hearts. It's rare to find people with that much power who are so willing to be, well, silly.
That's the Green Hills influence. We made sure they knew that being a hero is 10% fighting and 90% showing up for the people you love.
Rachel called out from the main blanket.
Speaking of showing up, Zim, if you call my potato salad primitive sustenance one more time, you're not getting any of the lemonade Sapphire made.
Zim snatched a spoonful of salad, his antennas twitching with high-energy defiance.
Zim does not fear your tubers, woman of Rachel. I merely observe that the texture is inconsistent with Irken culinary excellence. But the mayonnaise is acceptable for now.
Sapphire gently wiped a bit of mustard from Zim's cheek, her lavender eyes sparkling.
He loves it, Rachel. He's just too proud to admit he's already had 3 helpings.
Sonic was sitting cross-legged next to Marina, whose reddish-pink fur was soft against his arm as they shared a plate.
I think Zim's finally met his match with your mom's cooking, Jojo.
Jojo grinned as she showed Jar how to eat a strawberry.
Nobody beats Mom's kitchen, not even Space Invaders.
I'm gonna eat the red thing and then I'm gonna sing.
Shadow was leaning back against a wooden post, looking lively and relaxed as he watched the chaos.
It's loud, it's messy, and it's completely ridiculous. I love it.
Maria was sitting beside him, her blonde quills shimmering in the light.
It's exactly what Grandfather wanted for us, Shadow. Not a lab, not a mission. Just a sunny afternoon with people who don't want anything from us but our company.
Shadow gave her a small chill nudge with his elbow.
He'd probably be trying to calculate the caloric intake of those wings, but yeah, he'd be happy.
Annika ran over in her casual hoodie and denim vest, her long hair flying.
Shadow, Sonic, Midnight says the fish in the harbor are different here. She says they look like they're made of ink.
Sonic sprung up with his usual energy.
Inkfish? Okay, I've got to see this. Marina, you coming?
Marina stood up, her teal and pink dress fluttering.
Wouldn't miss it. Let's see if Storybrooke's wildlife is as dramatic as its residents.
Gold was watching the group head toward the water's edge, his voice low and intrigued.
You have quite the collection of souls here, Sheriff Swan. They don't just occupy space, they change the very temperature of the room.
Emma nodded, a rare relaxed smile on her face.
Yeah, there are a lot. But honestly, this is the first time the docks have felt like a real vacation instead of a crime scene.
The conversation shifted as the group moved closer to the edge of the pier, where the clear blue water of the harbor lapped against the pilings. Annika, still in her casual denim vest and hoodie, looked up at Belle with a mischievous, upbeat glint in her eyes.
Since we're at the docks, do you want to see our favorite way to stay cool? It's a lot faster than swimming the normal way.
Gold adjusted his grip on his cane, his eyes narrowing with intrigue.
By all means, dearie. I've seen many transformations in my time. Curses that turn men into beasts and queens into old crones. I suspect yours is something far more elegant.
Without waiting, Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Marina, and Annika dove simultaneously into the water. A second later, 5 distinct glows erupted beneath the surface. When they breached the water again, the air was filled with the sound of gasping breath and splashing tails. Belle gasped, her hands flying to her mouth in pure wonder as she clutched Gideon.
Oh, Rumple, look at them. They're breathtaking.
Sonic shook the water from his quills, his sleek blue mermaid tail shimmering as it broke the surface. Beside him, Shadow looked remarkably chill, his red and black tail cutting through the water with powerful, lively strokes. Silver's tail was a brilliant, glowing white that seemed to illuminate the dark water around him. Gold leaned over the rail, his usual mask of indifference completely shattered.
Incredible. The scales, they aren't just bone and skin. They're infused with the same energy signatures I felt earlier. It's a biological harmony I've never seen in the Enchanted Forest.
Marina surfaced next, her reddish-pink fur sleek in her matching quills, her teal and pink bodice transitioning seamlessly into a vibrant iridescent tail that matched her unique colors. She winked at Belle, who was leaning over the railing to get a better look.
Marina, you look like a painting. And your hair, the color is so vivid against the blue of the sea.
Annika splashed nearby, her mermaid form a stunning display of her celestial power. Her tail was a deep, shimmering indigo, covered in scales that looked like captured galaxies, echoing the stars she carried in her goddess form. Annika beamed up at them, her long dark hair floating in the water.
See, this is what happened in our world at the moon pool. It's like being part of the ocean and the sky at the same time.
Gold watched the celestial battery of the girl glide through the water.
The moon pool, a ritual of ancient lunar magic. To think that such a thing exists in your world without the tarnish of a Dark One's contract, it's pure.
Shadow was floating on his back, looking up at Gold with a lively smirk.
No contracts, Gold. Just a full moon and a family that wasn't afraid to jump in together. It's a different kind of magic, the kind you can't buy or sell.
Maddie walked over to join Belle at the railing, smiling down at her kids.
We went through quite an ordeal during that Australia trip, but seeing them this happy, it was worth every bit of effort, especially since Sonic's steam dry ability meant we didn't even have to worry about buying extra towels.
The picnic had transformed into a display of wonder. Tom and Rachel cheered from the pier, while Zim and Jack Skellington began a heated debate about whether Irken technology or Halloween magic could produce a more intimidating tale. For a long afternoon in Storybrooke, the pier wasn't just a place for ships. It was a stage for a family that defied the very definition of normal. The sun hung high over the Storybrooke harbor, turning the water into a shimmering sheet of sapphire. Sensing the awe from Belle, Gold, and the others, the group decided to turn the afternoon into a true display of wonder.
You think the tails are cool? Check this out. Shadow, Silver, Marina, let's give them the full show.
Shadow grinned, looking completely lively and at ease as he treaded water.
Try to keep up, Sonic.
With a powerful flick of his red and black tail, Shadow propelled himself upward, launching into a massive backflip 10 feet out of the water. As he reached the apex, he didn't just fall back. He stayed suspended for a heartbeat, his quills glowing with a fierce crimson light that sent ripples of energy dancing across the surface of the bay. Gold was tapping his cane in time with the splashes, his eyes wide.
It's like they're rewriting the laws of physics with every movement. No wand, no incantation, just raw, unfiltered will.
Silver followed, using his psychokinesis to lift massive spheres of seawater into the air around him. He swam through the floating orbs, his silver tail trailing a path of glowing light that turned the water into liquid stars. Marina then dove deep, her vibrant reddish-pink fur and matching quills appearing like a streak of fire beneath the waves. She spiraled upward, breaking the surface in a graceful spin. Her iridescent tail, shimmering in shades of teal and pink, fanned out like a peacock's feathers, catching the sunlight and casting tiny rainbows across the pier. Belle clasped her hands together as Gideon bounced in her arms.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Look at the colors, Rumple. It's like the ocean itself is dancing.
Then came the finale. Annika submerged, her long dark hair trailing behind her like silk. When she emerged, she wasn't just a mermaid. She tapped into her goddess essence. Her deep indigo tail, patterned with swirling galaxies, pulsed with a rhythmic light that matched the beating of her heart. As she leaped, the blue lightning from her power crackled across the water's surface, not as a weapon, but as a brilliant display of celestial fireworks. Annika beamed as she floated on her back, her indigo tail gently waving.
The water makes the magic feel bigger. It's like I can hear the stars talking to the sea.
Jack Skellington was cheering from the edge of the dock.
Marvelous! Spectacular! A watery ballet of the highest order! I haven't seen such a display since the Great Pumpkin Rising of '93.
Zim was standing on a cooler to get a better view.
The green one approves! Your biological transformations are adequate for entertaining the mighty Zim!
Sapphire was leaning over the railing, her lavender eyes full of light as she looked at Marina and Annika.
It's more than adequate, Zim. It's a miracle. To see them so free, so completely themselves. That is the real wonder.
Maria was sitting on the pier with her feet dangling, her blonde quills glowing softly.
They really are incredible, aren't they? 7 years ago, I never could have dreamed of a day like this.
Rumpelstiltskin was watching Annika carefully, his expression uncharacteristically soft.
Indeed, dearie, it seems the price of magic is a much easier debt to carry when you have a family willing to help you lift the weight.
The magic of the Storybrooke docks reached a fever pitch as the display of wonder continued. Just as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting a warm amber glow over the harbor, the group shifted from their performance to a moment of quiet, coordinated beauty. Following the logic of the moon pool magic, the hedgehogs and Marina remained in their mermaid forms as long as they were wet. Sonic and Shadow practiced a high-speed underwater race, their tails cutting through the water with effortless power. Shadow looked particularly lively, his crimson-streaked tail propelling him with a grace that matched his speed on land. Silver and Annika stayed closer to the pier, entertaining Gideon. Annika, in her deep indigo tail that mirrored the stars, swirled her hands through the water, creating glowing bubbles that didn't pop.
It truly is just like a fairy tale. To have the ability to become one with the ocean just by touching the water, it's a gift that transcends even the stories I've read.
Gold nodded as he watched the celestial battery of Annika's tail pulse with light.
It is a rare magic that requires no sacrifice, only a connection to the moon. A very clean sort of power, wouldn't you say, Sheriff?
Emma was leaning on the railing.
In this town, clean power is a luxury. I'm just glad they're the ones who have it.
While the kids enjoyed the last of their swim, the adults gathered near the picnic blankets to discuss their new reality. Tom, Maddie, and Rachel sat with Gold and Belle, looking at the town with a mix of acceptance and determination.
If we're stuck here because of this author or whatever magic is at play, we might as well make it official. We aren't just visitors. We're a part of this community now.
Exactly. I want the kids to feel like they have a home here, not just a waiting room. If that means setting up a permanent spot for them to practice their music or their powers, then that's what we'll do.
I can certainly assist with the logistics. Property in Storybrooke is quite flexible for the right individuals. And I think having a family of this caliber around would be a beneficial investment for everyone's safety.
Rachel grinned.
And I'll make sure the social calendar is full. I don't care if there's a curse or a dark god. We are having a neighborhood BBQ next weekend.
Once the group eventually climbed out of the water and were on the pier, Sonic steam dried them, and then the transformation back was instantaneous. Within seconds of their skin drying, the tails vanished, and they were back in their normal attire. Annika stood in her denim vest and gray hoodie, her long dark hair dry and her smile as bright as ever. Marina dried off, her reddish-pink fur looking sleek and vibrant once more.
All right, everyone, huddle up. I want a picture of the whole multiversal picnic crew before the light goes.
Jessica, Crystal, Joey, and Veronica helped organize the massive group. Longclaw landed on a wooden post at the very top of the frame. Jack, Sally, and Midnight stood with their regal, undead grace on one side, while Zim, Sapphire, and Gur took the other. Shadow stood in the center with Maria, looking chill and lively, with his arm around his cousin's shoulder. Sonic pulled Marina close, and Annika sat right in the front with Jojo and baby Gideon.
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
The flash of the camera captured a moment of pure, upbeat defiance. In a town built on written fates and ancient curses, a family of hedgehogs, humans, aliens, and skeletons had just written their own chapter. They weren't just characters in someone else's book anymore. They were the authors of their own afternoon. As the violet and gold of the sunset deepened into a rich indigo, the group packed up the remains of the picnic and made their way back to the bed and breakfast. The air was cool and crisp, but the warmth from the day's bond stayed with them. In the backyard, a large stone fire pit was soon roaring with a welcoming flame, and the smell of toasted marshmallows began to drift through the night air. Longclaw was perched comfortably on a low-hanging branch near the fire, her large eyes reflecting the dancing flames as she chatted with Belle.
It is truly a marvel, is it not? In all my years guarding the portals and the quills, I have rarely seen a realm so condensed with possibility as this one.
Belle smiled as she toasted a marshmallow for Gideon.
It's a town of stories, Longclaw. But I think your family is adding a chapter we never knew we were missing.
Sonic was grinning as he handed a perfect S-more to Marina, who was relaxing in her reddish-pink hedgehog form.
Stories are great and all, but I'm more about the soundtrack. Speaking of which, Joey, Crystal, you guys thinking what I'm thinking?
Joey tapped a pair of drumsticks against a wooden log with rhythmic precision.
I've been ready since the third act of the Mermaid Show, Sonic. My drums are just sitting in the van screaming to be played.
Crystal sat near her portable keyboard.
The acoustics out here are actually surprisingly good. I can set up the synth pads to match the vibe of the fire.
Sonic picked up his guitar and strumming a bright, upbeat chord.
Perfect! We'll keep it low-key for now, just a little campfire jam.
Shadow was sitting on a blanket with Maria and Midnight, looking lively and completely relaxed.
You know, back on the Ark, we used to look at the Earth and wonder what a bonfire would actually feel like. The heat, the crackle. It's much better than the heating vents in Sector 4.
Midnight's dark wings folded neatly as she leaned against a headstone-shaped lawn ornament Jack had brought.
It is peaceful. There is a different kind of life in the fire, not like the cold blue flames of the hinterlands, but something sun-baked.
Zim was poking a marshmallow with a high-tech metal probe.
This foamy glob is resistant to my thermal testing. Why does it bubble, woman of Rachel? Is it a defense mechanism?
Rachel was laughing as she helped Jojo assemble a s'more.
It's sugar, Zim. Just eat it before it falls into the dirt.
Sapphire was taking a small bite and smiling, her lavender eyes bright.
It's delicious, Zim. It's like eating a sweet, sticky cloud.
Annika was sitting on the grass in her casual denim vest, her long dark hair tucked behind her ears as she watched the sparks fly.
I like it here. I like that we don't have to worry about Silo or Methylens. We can just be us.
Silver was using his psychokinesis to float 5 Esmerays at once toward Tom, Maddie, and the others.
And we have a lot more us now. Hey, Shadow catch!
Shadow effortlessly snatched a floating s'more out of the air with a smirk.
Show off.
As Sonic began a soft, rhythmic melody on his guitar, accompanied by Joey's light percussion and Crystal's ethereal keyboard chords, the group fell into a comfortable, happy rhythm. Longclaw hooted softly in approval, moving from her branch to stand among the humans, sharing stories of her own travels. Marina was leaning her head on Sonic's shoulder, her reddish-pink fur soft against his blue quills.
Best vacation ever?
Sonic kisses the top of her head.
The absolute best!
The fire crackled low, the glowing embers casting a soft orange light over the backyard, as the music faded into a gentle, acoustic hum. The sugar rush from the s'mores had settled into a warm, sleepy contentment that draped over the entire group. Sonic yawned as he slung his guitar over his shoulder.
Alright, I think my internal battery is finally hitting 1%. If I don't get to a bed soon, I'm gonna fall asleep standing up like a flamingo.
Marina laughed softly, her reddish-pink fur looking cozy in the firelight.
I'll race you to the stairs, Blue. But only if you promise not to use a sonic boom in the hallway.
Shadow stood up and stretched, his movements lively even in his tired state.
I believe we've earned a night of peace. Midnight, Jack, Sally, the rooms upstairs are surprisingly comfortable. Much better than the guest quarters at the Ark.
Excellent! I shall dream of skeletal reindeer and coastal fog. Come, Sally, let us see if these pillows are as fluffy as they look.
Annika was rubbing her eyes as she walked with Jojo and Maria.
Can we do the mermaid thing again tomorrow? I want to see if there are any secret caves under the library.
Maddie tucked a loose strand of hair behind Annika's ear.
We'll see, honey. For now, it's dream time for the goddess of stars.
One by one, the group drifted inside. Longclaw gave a final, social hoot to Tom and Maddie before flying up to her perch in the attic, and the B&B eventually fell into a profound, healing silence. Inside the house, Henry was the last one awake. He had left his satchel on the dining room table, the ancient Once Upon a Time book tucked inside. As the house went dark, a faint golden light began to emanate from between the leather-bound covers. Henry, noticing the glow, walked over and slowly opened the book to the very last page.
Mom, Regina, you have to see this.
Emma and Regina, who were just about to head to their own rooms, hurried over. On the parchment page, which had been blank only hours ago, a beautiful hand-drawn illustration was forming in real time. It was an exact recreation of the photo they had taken at the docks. There was Sonic and Marina at the center, Shadow and Maria standing proud, the tall, regal frames of the Skellingtons, and the vibrant energy of Zim and Sapphire. Right in the front, Annika was depicted with a faint shimmer of indigo stars around her, holding Gideon's hand. Underneath the illustration, the ink swirled into elegant cursive text. And so the family from beyond the stars found their place within the pages. No longer mere travelers, they became the newest thread in the tapestry of Storybrooke bond forged in starlight, tempered by fire, and sealed by the salt of the sea. Regina ran a finger over the ink, her expression soft.
The book isn't just recording them, Henry. It's claiming them. They aren't just guests anymore.
Emma nodded with a smile.
They're residents, and by the looks of it, they're the best thing to happen to this town in a long time.